It's Mario for Cos Spirit, and welcome to the channel. So today's video wasn't what I was intended to put out this week. I had already recorded the video that I wanted to put out this week, which I'll be putting it out either next week or the week after. It depends, right? But I will be putting out in the future. But this video here, I want to talk about like some comments that I had. By the way, I got the last video I did about men going their own way and Valentine's Day. I got some good comments on that, so that was pretty awesome. But and then there was also another video. There's another comment that I want to talk about, and this wasn't on that video. There was a video that I had commented on, right? And this individual replied to my comment, so I want to talk about that as well. So basically, when I put all these comments together, I placed them in two categories. So one, what was more, from what I can tell, is that they were like, you know, the heck with Valentine's Day, take care of yourself, and you know, have a good life, basically, right? And the other category, what was where these two commentators were talking about the mistreatment of men, right? So that's what I want to talk about there. So basically, I'm going to start with the one comment that, like I said, was on another video that I had made a comment to, and this individual replied to me on my comment. And what that was that the video that I was watching, it was this one girl. She's an anti-feminist girl, and she was playing some other guy's video, and she was commentating on his video. A lot of commentating, right? So she was you know, giving her thoughts and feelings on his video and what he was talking about, right? So when I was listening to it, I could hear that this guy, you know, he seemed like an intelligent guy, but he was dropping a lot of F-bombs, okay? So basically, I ended up shutting the video, because dropping F-bombs is a very negative vibration, a very negative language. And if you want to live a high quality of life, you can't be using low vibrational language, okay? So basically, the comment that I made was referring to that. I was like, you know, if you want to improve your life, stop dropping the F-bomb, clean up your language, and your life will improve. Now, by stopping dropping F-bombs, is it going to make your life give you like a completely 100% better? No. It's just one small step to improving your quality of life. But in order to have the highest quality of life that you can have, you must change all the negative experiences that you're having in your life and turning them into something positive. Now, I'm going deep into this, but you know, I mean, just listen along. So basically, there's a one guy that replied to me was saying, well, he goes, you're asking, and I'm just giving you my interpretation of what he said. He's saying is his exact words, but how I interpreted what he said was that he was saying to me that you're asking men that are suffering, that are living in pain, to, you know, I mean, to be living in happiness and to live a happy and awesome life in order to get treatment, right? So that's what he said to me. And then the other comment that I received on my video was that what that guy was saying, he was just referring to how men were being mistreated, right? So basically, at the end of the day, okay, no matter how bad the situation is, okay, you got one of two choices. You could be positive or negative about it. So you could use positive energy or negative energy, right? So basically, when I'm saying this, it's not like I'm being cold or uncompassionate. And I understand that some of us have worse situations than others. Some of us have, and it's not me, I've never been married or have kids, But some of us were married, had kids, ended up getting divorced, losing this, losing that, not being around their children. So basically, it's hell. Okay, now even though it's hell, okay, you still have sovereignty, you still have freedom and choice, and this is the point that I want to make here. And this is why I say you always have a choice to use positive or negative energy. If you use positive energy, you do not lose your sovereignty. You do not lose your freedom. You do not. Your life is not run by somebody else's belief system, right? You're consciously aware that doesn't matter how bad the situation is. Okay, you are sovereign and you are free, right? And you have the freedom to choose. Either you use positive energy to deal with the situation or negative energy to deal with the situation. If you choose negative, then you're going to get negative experiences. I mean, it may seem that it's working out good for you at that point in time, but eventually it's going to catch up to you, okay? If you use positive energy, it may not seem like it's working out so well for you at that point in time, but it will, if you stay persistent in that belief system that you're going to use positive energy, positive way of dealing with things, and it doesn't matter how bad the situation is, you're going to focus your attention on using positive energy over negative energy, right? Then eventually, if you change your programming to live that kind of lifestyle, then eventually it will bear good fruits, okay? So I want to give you guys an example on what happened to me, okay, and how I dealt with the situation. And it has to do with women, so it's going to work out good, right? So one of my passions for me is, like, I'm an artist and I'm a dancer, right? So I do ballroom dancing, but I also do ballet dancing as well. So in my ballet class, most of the time it's just I'm the only guy there, right? Which is not a bad thing, right? So I really don't mind that at all. So basically, like a lot of times it'll be like me with either 6 girls, 10 girls, whatever, right? So the one day we're in class, and there was this one woman that, you know, like before this happened, we were pretty close friends, right? So where all this came from, I don't know, and I really don't want to know. I don't really care to, because it's really not important, because I'm not going to go and down that darkness to try to figure out why this woman acted the way she acted, because it's not positive, it's not healthy for me. I'm going to keep my life positive, not negative, right? I'm going to use my sovereignty and my freedom of choice, okay? So basically, when I'm in class, I'm a very playful person, right? So I'll be messing around with the girls all the time, right? So the one day, as per usual, I'm messing around this, that, and this woman snaps. She loses it on me, right? So she pretty much like, in a sense, degraded me in front of all these other women, right? So at that point in time, I had one or two choices. I could have went dark on her, right? I could have went like, this woman's not going to talk to me like that. I mean, how does this look to have this woman degrading me in front of all these other women? So I could have lost on her. I could have lost it on her. I could have put her in her spot, taught her that I'm bigger than her, I'm stronger than her. She shouldn't talk to me that way, or else I could, you know what I mean? This can happen, that can happen. Know your spot, but you know what I mean, right? I could have really went down a dark path, right? Could have really lost it, but I didn't. Why? A, I don't see women as a threat. So ultimately, that's one big reason. Mind you, I choose a positive life. Obviously, that's the biggest reason. But I also don't see women as a threat, right? And even the other women, like, if they thought badly of me, like, whatever, think what you want. I couldn't care less. You know what I mean? You're not my wife, and you're not my daughter, so I really couldn't care less, right? I mean, obviously, I care to a certain degree, but I'm not going to keep myself awake at nights worrying about what these women think of me, right? Like seriously. I got better things to do in my life than that, right? So So anyways, so that went down, and I didn't change the way I behave. I continued. It didn't bother me, right? But I was thinking about this after. I'm like, if this was Afghanistan, like I live in Canada, if this was Afghanistan, this woman would be talking to me this way, right? Like seriously, like who does she think she is? Well, because I'm not gonna, because she knows me, she knows I'm not gonna go and rip off her head, so she's gonna abuse my kindness against me. So basically, no one should ever talk to anybody that way. Women shouldn't talk to each other that way. Men shouldn't talk to each other that way. You should be respectful and honorable in your behavior. But when the prey talks like that to the predator, when the rabbit slaps the wolf, there's something wrong, right? Like seriously, like how does this make any sense, right? So how did I deal with it? Well, obviously I don't see them as a threat, so it wasn't a big deal to me, but it's obviously still is an issue because, like I said, when the rabbit's slapping the wolf, right, there's something wrong, right? And so I think so. What I did is, if you go back, I can't remember which video it is, but go back, I think a couple of years. Not that I suggest you should do that, but let's say a couple of years ago on this channel, I did make a video about that, right? So that's another way how I dealt with it, because I felt that this should be talked about, right? But another thing that happened is, later on I was in class and she wasn't there. It's going like quite a few months later, right? So I was talking to this one girl, and I can't remember who said this first word, but it doesn't really matter. The two things that stood out to me was that what she said, what she went to that woman there, and she goes, you know, well, you need to chill out. Like seriously, that's not a way to behave, right? So that's what stood out. So that's what stood out to me, what she said to this woman here. And then for me, what I said to her, I go, you know, I was thinking about afterwards. I'm like, if this was Afghanistan, this woman would never talk to me that way, right? And that woman there, she kind of looked at me, right? So how she perceived that, I don't know, but it did mean something to her. Well, what it meant to her, I don't know, but it did mean something to her, right? So basically, I dealt with it in a positive way. How I'm perceived by other women, I don't know. All I know is my life is still doing pretty good. And it just seems to me that my relationship with these other women are doing pretty good as well, right? So, and then for this other woman that was degrading to me in class, I'm not going to go too descriptive of what happened to her, but let's just say about a year or a year more after that, she tried that with another woman, and this woman got a little snaky, and things didn't work out for her in her best interest. So anyone that decides to live in darkness, you may think you're winning at that point in time, but eventually it will catch up to you, right? So obviously the situation is, like I said, is not as bad as a man that has 3 or 4 kids, been married 20 years, and ends up in a divorce, and all these bad things happen to him. I understand that. But at the end of the day, if you use positive energy, you're going to have positive experiences. If you use negative energy, I guarantee you, your results are going to be negative. So this F-bomb thing, I stopped swearing a long time ago. And in my life, I always check the language that I use, okay? So it's like you hear people will use the word hate. I don't use the word hate because it's negative. It's not good for my health. It does not help me rise above any negative situation, right? So what I do is, instead of using hate, I use I don't enjoy. So I either enjoy an experience or I don't enjoy an experience, right? So it's like food, right? You either, like, I don't enjoy Indian food. Now, when I say I don't enjoy Indian food, there's not all this negative energy. It's just I don't enjoy Indian food. If someone acts in a negative fashion, then then if it's just not, if it's more than not a big deal to me, like if I feel this negative energy creeping in, then I'll remind myself it's just that individual there, that experience there is not something I enjoy, so I'm not going to interact with that or whatever. But I use more positive words to keep me from going dark, right? And why do I keep myself from going dark? Not for that individual there. I do it for me, for my quality of life, right? And it's in my mind, and it's, I've done that for so many situations that I've been in, and I've experienced the fruit of that labor, and it's pretty awesome. It's a lot better than going dark and making things far worse than they really need to be. So, anyways, basically we'll leave it there. But guys, like I said, if I could leave it with this, guys, I'm repeating myself, like, guys, I know it could be very bad. I've had situations in my life where I felt everything's coming down on me. I mean, and like, I'm not going to get involved and get into it, but it's been pretty bad where I was walking the edge, right? It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, what life do I want to live? What energy do I want to experience? Am I going to go negative, or am I going to go positive, right? Positives will give you positive experience, negatives will give me a negative experience. So, yeah, so embrace your sovereignty. Don't be a sheep to darkness. Don't be no one's sheep, right? Don't let other people's negative way of living their life dictate how you live your life. Allow your perception, your sovereignty, your freedom dictate how you live your life. And if you use positive energy, you'll have a positive life. If you use negative energy, you'll have a negative life. So we'll leave it there. Have a good day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.